throwing fits, ripping shit, tearing it, imperative. Then I'm killing this mic no matter where I live. These derelict rappers acting a fool, this embarrassing, is flagrant. That's the nature of this entertainment, and we can't even change it. Guilty before arraignment, now the system tainted. But when we speak, they all laugh at us. And y'all wonder why I'm lacking trust. Try to fight a giant with attorneys that can back them up. That's church versus science, both sides start acting up. I'm late on my assignment, hopping up a mile high, climbing, obviously never silent. New alignment, I'm defined, cannot describe it. Used to describe it as a young graffiti artist. Before the beard, I always got carded. At every bar, even though my bar's been the hardest. The scars on my face, and I ain't always been the smartest. But I'll show you where my heart is. I said I'll show you where my heart is. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve, even if the beat stops my soul.
Ladies and gentlemen, we made it to another Tuesday with the fellas. A little sports nonsense and whiskey. Robert, Pinky, cheers, my good men. How are we?
Cheers,
good,
cheers,
buddy.
Doing good.
Woo! Let's
Good,
roll.
Good. Excellent. Good.
I'm all hopped up on Mountain Dew.
Love it. Love
This
it.
guy.
I hopped up on caffeine today, boys. They were giving us Celsius energy drinks for free. I took advantage. I am
Wired and ready to
strong like bull.
go. All right, good. Excellent. Where do you want to start with all that energy then, good sir?
I mean, should we talk about being right about the Super Bowl?
Hey, Caleb didn't put a curse on them this time. He also picked the Seahawks. Is this the turn of a century?
No.
Okay.
No, his curse is more about individual players.
That's fair.
Than it is like
Sammy.
teams.
Sammy won the Super Bowl.
Oh, now, hold on.
Sammy winning the Super Bowl doesn't help me out a little bit here.
Sammy's performance in the Super Bowl was meh.
Average.
But he won.
It was enough to not lose the game.
They did
And
not.
he did throw a tutty. He did throw a nice tutty.
His performance in the Super Bowl is like probably on par with John Elway's and Ben Roethlisberger's in the first ones that they won.
I'm just saying, I don't you said individual players. No credit for. I mean, he arguably outplayed Stafford, which was a lot of people said the Super Bowl in the NFC Championship game, and then he played a average Super Bowl where they didn't lose the game.
I'm
just saying, that doesn't help the curse a little bit.
Robert, I can't see you, buddy. We need to fix that.
I got you.
All right, Caleb. Look, I was going to wait a little bit to do it, but I'll just get it out of the way.
Do it.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to give you your flowers.
Oh.
You have been on the Sam Darnold bandwagon since day one. And you've never jumped off. Even when he saw
I don't know if we'll say day one.
You were on that bandwagon from day one. Now, I would think.
Okay.
Now, that was before we started the show. So, because that was 2018, we started about 2020. So
that might be true.
But since I have known you and talked sports with you, you've been on the Sam Darnold bandwagon. You liked Baker. You loved Lamar. You like Josh. You like most of the quarterbacks from the 2018 draft class, which I don't think you're wrong. But you always had belief in Sam Darnold. Not many people can say that. And so kudos to you for having that conviction, standing by your guy, and, still thinking what your eyes are telling you would lead to success.
Thank you, sir.
He just needed the right situation.
Yeah, I mean, that's, as we've learned more often than not, if you don't get that opportunity, it doesn't really matter what anybody's eyes see. You're just done. So, yeah, he got he got his chance and was able to maximize that opportunity for sure. So that's always nice to see.
Now, that game probably played out almost to a T of what we thought would happen. I kind of thought the Patriots would have kept it closer. But They were epically bad in that game.
I
Minus
thought
no turnovers. They just they didn't do their game plan.
it was not
was
good.
bad.
I thought Seattle played a very conservative game plan on offense. Like they didn't really try to do a whole lot that would give them an opportunity to score. And the Patriots' offensive game plan was just awful. It was just bad. And I was not expecting that from McDaniels. I thought he would at least find ways to try and get his guys the ball in some space at times. And it seemed like he's like, hey, how about Drake May? You just go ahead and drop back a couple times and we'll see what happens. Sound good? Go do that. And it just, nothing changed. Nothing changed. Seattle was like, well, everything we want to do, we're going to go ahead and do that. And there's nothing they're going to do to stop it. And then nothing changed. It was just wild. Caleb, always nice.
I have a son named Caleb as well.
Yeah,
Caleb's
it just
a good
made no
name.
sense. So, yeah, Seattle looked like they were just like, we're not going to have to. We're going to leave like 8 dudes to block. We're going to run a couple guys out into the middle every so often. Sam, if there's something there, let it rip. If not, we're fine. And they did that.
All right, I got to tell a little bit of a story. It's been a little while. Pinky story time. Obviously, I'm at a new job. It's been pretty crazy, exciting, all of that. But when you interact with new people, right? I actually had a Patriots fan that we were discussing the game who literally told me to my face, I didn't know what I was talking about. I must not have watched Patriots games.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And I said, excuse you. I watched a lot of Patriots games. I actually said throughout the whole season, the Patriots were the most complete team in the AFC from what they put on paper. I think Drake May is awesome, right? I told him, I was like, I've been watching football probably longer than you've been alive. Because he's like early 30s, late 20s, early 30s, like Robert. And I think he could tell I was a little offended.
Oh, no.
And I told he kept saying, Patriots, 4.5 points. Take those Patriots and the 4.5 points. You'll be happy. And I said, not a chance. I'll take Seattle and 10 points right now. I wish I'd have really put my money where my mouth was because I would have been right. Let me tell you, there was nothing better than seeing this guy at work on Monday. In fact, I was such a nice guy. We didn't even talk about it. That's how nice I was. I just smiled. I should have said something, but I was the bigger man and did not. I feel like he already took one. So Super Bowl did suck.
It was not a good game, unfortunately. But like I said, it felt like Seattle realized they can do whatever they want to on defense. They don't have to lose the game on offense or even really push the ball. And then the Patriots looked like they had no idea what to do. None. Not a clue. So it's the Super Bowl. You're going to get games where they're really entertaining, and then you're going to get games like this where the matchup, like Pinky talks about all the time, just doesn't go well for one team. And whatever that strategy ends up being fails miserably. And then you get these games where you're like, oh, this is over. And you go, halftime's coming up, right? And you go, oh, wait, it's only 5 minutes gone in the game. We're not in the second quarter yet. That's the game. Oh boy. So, I mean, Seattle did the Patriots a favor in the fact that they decided to go super conservative. Maybe that's kudos to their defensive-minded head coach and the ability to not necessarily put the foot on the gas in the way most people think about it, because it could have been, 21, 24, 28, nothing going into halftime real easy at one point. And instead it was, 12 nothing. So,
and
or whatever it was, 9 nothing.
I got an argument here for you boys. Because I think I was a little. I know this is a hard argument to win, but I'm going to make it anyways.
Oh boy.
Okay, this could be fun.
The Super Bowl MVP was Jason Myers. And I know people are like, oh, he's the kicker. He scored 5 field goals, which would have beat the Patriots on its own. Like, I know Kenneth Walker had a good game, and I know his running got them into field goal range, but the dude kicked 5 field goals in a Super Bowl. Like, Kenneth Walker, I felt like if Kenneth Walker scores, yeah, but I just felt like it was so empty having Kenneth Walker win. And I like Kenneth Walker. I think I'd love for the Broncos to throw some money at him. But I feel like the kicker was the MVP of that game.
I can't say I can argue against that. That's a fair point.
I will. You're out of your goddamn mind. What in the world is happening right now? The man did his job. Congratulations. It's not like he buried 5 50-yarders, first of all. He hit 5 chip shots in today's game, basically. On top of that, Kenneth Walker was the offense for Seattle. If he doesn't run the way he did, they're not controlling the clock the way they did all game. And you might not be in those field goal positions. You might not have as big of a lead, and you might see something stupid and ridiculous happen in the fourth quarter.
I think the defense.
So the fact that he was able to not just put them in the position for field goals, but the way he was able to run completely controlled the clock in that game, I think is not getting talked about enough, because he wasn't trying to force any issues. He ran very patiently. He took what was given to him. And when he had opportunity, he took advantage of it every time. He had, 175 total yards?
He did.
That's to do that, I think, in that game. And I've heard a lot of people be like, well, the Seattle defense really should have been the MVP. But you can't give it to an entire unit. I'm like, then pick the dude who had 11 tackles. Like, if you feel that strongly about it, there is, and I can't remember the guy's name. I'm drawing a complete blank. I'm not even going to try to guess. But he had 11 tackles in the Super Bowl. If you believe that strongly, the defense should have won the MVP, then there's a defensive player you could have picked for MVP. This notion that, well, I can't do it because nobody had this outstanding game. Well, as Pinky clearly just said, it's not like Kenneth Walker had this memorable game that's going to go down in the lores of football history. He had a good game, but I mean, he had some historical situation. So you could have easily picked a defensive player if that's how you felt. Let's just do it. Don't sit there and be like, oh, 11 tackles isn't as impressive as some guy running the ball. 11 tackles is pretty impressive. So give it to him. It's a silly reason not to go on the defensive side, but whatever.
Yeah, Traffic Cone Campbell had a rough playoffs.
By all accounts, he has a torn ligament in his knee, and played through the playoffs with it. So
I would make the argument that your backup may have been a better strategy, because he was not.
Or if you know that that's a situation, why aren't you chipping on that side of the ball? Why aren't you going 3 tight end sets? There's a lot. Again, I feel like Josh McDaniels' game plan was pure trash for that Super Bowl. Just awful. Absolutely awful. And then they went up against an offense that was going to move the ball if they had to. And it wasn't a snow game. So you look at who they played previously and what they were able to get away with. I mean, if we're just going by the numbers, Drake May had the second worst historical Super Bowl run by a quarterback in the history of the playoffs. And we think he's talented. He's going to be all right long-term as the Patriots starter, right? Franchise quarterback.
Oh, for sure.
But if we're talking just numbers, his Super Bowl run, don't talk about who they played and how they got by and what injuries, so on and so forth. You can only play who's in front of you. If you get lucky enough to have a situation like they did, you better take advantage of it. And they did. They took advantage of it, and they got to the Super Bowl. So the schedule and all of that I don't care about. But just look at Drake May's play. It was bad. bad. Now, he did play the top 4 defenses in the league
He
to
did.
get to the
He
Super
did.
Bowl.
He
Like,
literally
that's absurd,
played.
okay?
He literally played 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right? So that's give him a little bit of credit there. Second year in the league, he had to play 3 of the top 4, 2, 3, and 4 to get to the Super Bowl, I believe. And number 1, he had to play in the Super Bowl. As a second year guy, like, that's a big deal. So there's both sides of this argument. Did he play well? No. But the context still does matter, regardless of what the other team's offenses look like. And maybe they shouldn't have got there, but they did. I don't care. He didn't play well, but he also had to go against the top 4 defenses in the league this year to even have an opportunity to win the Lombardi. So,
I mean,
while he didn't play well, I would, if I'm where I'm going, Pinky, sorry, long about way, you shouldn't feel as concerned about Drake May maybe as some people are trying to make it sound like. Like, this guy's not falling. That's some serious experience in key moments of the season where things happen that you may not have seen all year that you can log and use going forward in your career. The problem is history isn't necessarily on their side because there's been a whole lot of quarterbacks who have lost their first Super Bowl and never made it back. There have been 7 who have made it back. Of those 7, only 3 have won. Len Dawson, somebody, and Jalen Hurts. So losing your first Super Bowl and getting back is really low chances. Only 7 have done it. Winning it is even less chance. So history is not on the Patriots side and Drake May going forward. Ask Joe Burrow right now. I mean, he's the best example, right?
Can't even sniff the playoffs anymore.
So there's, you fight an uphill battle now to even get back and be able to use whatever knowledge you gained in those games.
Great question on that, Jamar. I mean, O-line is everything. We talk about it. You got to build in the trenches. The Patriots O-line was probably okay throughout the season. As we talked about, the schedule was light in the regular season. So they allowed to play better during the regular season than when they got to the top defenses in the playoffs, things were a lot different. Again, we still think Drake May is really talented. I would still argue if I've got the number 1 pick in that draft, I probably take Drake May. Caleb does some cool stuff. But I feel like there's just, for me, when I watch Caleb Williams, there's something missing. I don't know if it's up here. I don't know. Something missing. I like Drake May's game. I would not be overly concerned as a Patriots fan. I love Mike Vrabel. Like, the fact that Tennessee gets rid of him and the next year he's in the Super Bowl tells you how good a coach Mike Vrabel is, right? Or Vrabel, as what's her name said on the NFL Honors Show. That was funny. Coach of the year, Mike Vrabel, right?
Yeah, Jabbar, I'd say it's a toss-up, 50-50. Second year, inexperience, things happening that you haven't seen before, play calling, and then bad offensive line play. Like, nothing was going right. So to just solely say one or the other, it's a snowball effect. It's the definition of it, man. That thing started rolling downhill, and it just got bigger. The holes, the obvious flaws, like we talked about from Pinky, week 10, we basically said there's a whole lot of teams who could go out and win it, but everybody's got a flaw that you're going to have to deal with and overcome. Those flaws started building up in a big way for the Patriots in the playoffs, and there was just no way.
McDaniels just had no answer. They didn't.
But it didn't even look like he tried to answer. It looked like he had one thing that he was going to try to do all game, and that was it. Like, it didn't look like he was trying to play chess in any way.
It wasn't on the same level, but it did remind me of the Broncos-Seahawks Super Bowl, where John Fox and trying to remember the OC at the time, Mike McCoy, had no answer for that Seahawks defense, none whatsoever, and that was what I was getting with this Super Bowl. Is like Mike McDonald came in, he got the game plan, the defense played it perfectly. They put pressure on him constantly. You know, there was nothing. The Hunter Henry, nothing. Ramadre Stevenson, nothing. No run game. They had nothing on the Seahawks defense, and it. I don't know if the Seahawks defense is that amazing, or the Patriots offense was that bad. Like I don't know. Seahawks defense is pretty good, but I feel like throughout, like the Rams put up 20 something on them. I feel like it can be done.
It's the way they play. It's, I mean, I love it. It's you're attacking. It's not necessarily you're bringing pressure all the time. They rushed 4 a ton, but it's the way in which they did it. And they were attacking. They were setting the tone. They were making the Patriots change or call audibles at the line or things of that nature because they were unsure, rather than the Patriots setting the tone and going the other way. And when you can do that, you start making people second guess themselves. They're a step slower. They're wondering what you're going to do rather than what you're going to make them do. Like, all of those things start coming into play. And Seattle did that. Like, there's stories going around right now that Seattle was talking about after the first drive. They came off the sideline and they go, yo, everything we discussed, we're going to be able to do tonight. Everything. And they ate after that. So, I mean, anybody that played any kind of sport on any level, or even is competitive in any way, playing any type of game or anything, when you get that feeling of like, oh yeah, I know exactly what they're doing, and what I want to do is going to destroy that. Like, you get that feeling in anything you're doing, and it's a good day. It's a real good day. And that's what Seattle was feeling from the jump. So, tough to be a Patriots fan because you had to watch some misery for a good 3.5 quarters. Great to be a Seahawks fan, and you get to enjoy seeing your team go out there and dominate the way any team would like to see happen in the Super Bowl. So you really get to enjoy it. You're not on the edge of your seat. You're not constantly pacing or wondering, or am I going to get to see my team achieve that? Now, you pretty much had it locked up. You were probably putting in another batch of whatever you were eating in the background, and maybe you were a little bit more hyped to see what commercial came on next because you were feeling really good.
Or you were doing too many shots like Pinky. My wife is a really bad influence. Caleb, as we transition from Super Bowl 60 to the next season, so I was curious, and I think you brought it up in our chat. When we think about some of the top teams from the playoffs this year, how would you fix them for next season? How would you put them over the top? So, what can Buffalo do to fix themselves for next year?
Who's the top couple wide receivers on the market?
AJ Brown.
No, lower on. Pickens, he'll probably get franchise tagged.
He got franchise tagged.
Well, they can't officially do it yet, right? That's just rumors.
I think that's what I think he got franchise tag. They can franchise tag you anytime they want.
Okay, fair. Well, don't do it, Buffalo. Don't do it. Go out and figure out how you're going to improve and make your defensive line one of the best in the league. And then let Joe Brady cook on offense. Your offense wasn't a problem this year. Yeah, you needed some wide receivers to step up.
George Pickens had the franchise tag placed on him. The rumor is the Cowboys are trying to trade him.
Okay. But don't do it. Don't fall into that trap. Go pick a stud in the first round this year. Identify a guy you believe can be a wide receiver one and go get him this year. Or do everything, free agency and the draft, on that defensive front. Front seven, but definitely the front four. Or do they run a 3-4 now? I don't even know. I don't know who the DC is now, what they plan on running. But you get what I'm saying. you need to be able to control that defensive line of scrimmage. That should really be Buffalo's goal, I would say. Because Josh Allen, I think a full season with Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox and that run game, they'll figure out some wide receivers. It'll be okay. They need to make sure that the ball can get back into Josh Allen's hand and not teams being able to run clock on him and control the outcome of the game because Josh Allen never gets it back because the defense can't get off the field.
It's Russian roulette when you play that game of can we outscore our opponents? I know you say defense doesn't win championships because offense has to score points, and we can debate that a lot, but Buffalo's problem has been their defense can't keep teams from scoring points. So defense would have probably
That is a very simplistic view of my thought process. Just want to be clear. That's not exactly.
That is not a discussion for today.
Great on great, I believe offense is what I would always take. That's how I feel. Now, if you start getting good on great and things get murky, then and I will. And anyways, yes, offenses have to score points. You're right. What do you think with Buffalo?
Buffalo for me, I do think they need to continue to build on defense, and it will be a little bit different because again they went from Sean McDermott to now Jim Leonhard, who's never been a defensive coordinator yet from the Broncos. I do love Jim Leonhard in his press conference. They asked him, was it a catch? And he was like, it was an interception. That's what it was. Love that. Keep that. Jim Leonhard's actually, I think he's going to be a really great DC. He brings some exotic blitz.
You're not going to start that gig going, I mean, come on, guys. It was a catch. It was a good interception. It was like he's going to say what was called just to be like, you don't want to. Ooh.
Yeah, I think they knew. But I do think he will be a good DC. It might take a little bit of time, right? Because he's never done it before. But I do think he's going to bring some good things to the table. For me, I think they need to sprinkle in. They've got some decent pieces on defense. I think with a better scheme, they will do well. They need a wide receiver for Josh Allen. I know Mahomes got by a season or two with no real like number one wideouts. Josh has done well. I mean, they put up 30 points a game on a regular basis. But there's just those moments when you play a good team and you don't have that consistent guy that you know he's going to be open. I know I can always throw the ball there. It's tough. It makes things really difficult. They need a number one wide receiver, like without a doubt. They need it. Robert, what's a team that you from the playoffs this year that you would like to see? Like you have a comment of how they could fix things for next year.
I mean, number one, Bo Nix just doesn't need to break an ankle. How about that? There's that. But no, on a real note, for where they lost, I really think that they just really need to build up a better run game and really kind of develop that a little bit more. Get some good blockers and move on and help, hopefully not get as many penalties called because that's also a big issue. I feel like that's one of the Broncos' biggest problems is that they just get too many damn penalties.
They had a lot of defensive penalties this last year.
It was awful. So that's my big thing is like reduce the penalties, work a little bit on the O-line. I think it'd be a lot better.
I mean, I'd argue the O-line was actually really pretty good this season. They just missed 3 components. Once J.K. Dobbins went down, they had no running game.
Mm-hmm.
They need a running back. Bring Dobbins back, but if you do that, you probably still got to get another running back because you just never know when he's going to go out again. They need a tight end. They need a play-making tight end, and that I know Caleb will argue, which he's right. There was opportunities to get a playmaking tight end in this last draft, and they didn't do it. And that is a pain point. Evan Ingram never got going. Yes, Jamar. Riley Moss, the arguably the best white corner in the league. Him and Cooper John, you can argue, college teammates. Riley Moss actually had a pretty damn good season. Besides,
I think you could argue. I think you can make a legit argument that he's He's the best second corner in the league.
I really do. Like
The amount of balls that get force thrown his way just simply because the other side of the field is not being touched with Surtain is wild.
Well, the most wild stat with Riley Moss, had the most defensive penalties called against him, but B, still had the best completion. Like he still had one of the least amount of completions against him based on how many balls were thrown his way. That makes no sense. And there was some questionable calls. There were a couple you're like, yeah, that's fair. Like he definitely did that. But there were a couple you're like, that's kind of ticky tack. Like it was pretty bad. And even
Jamar, you're bringing up a sore subject because I'm very displeased with the draft from last year for a lot of reasons, and that is one of the reasons. I thought Moss was going to be fine. There was no reason to take Barron in the first round, and then that was a trickle effective than what could have been in that draft and the way it could have gone for
I still think
around Bo Nix. So
I still think Barron's going to be fine long term, but at the end of the year, we still need another playmaking wide receiver. We need a playmaking tight end, and we need a stud at running back. And I'm not opposed to bringing Dobbins back, but if you do, you got to have another plan. You got to have a plan B.
So how much of that do the Broncos do in the draft, and how much do they do in free agency?
Well, there's lots of running backs in free agency this year. Lots. So I think
Breece Hall, ETN, and Walker probably the top three, right?
Right. And I'd be happy with any one of those guys. Legit. I'd be happy with any one of those. I actually see Walker. I think you've got a little more like that big play ability, but maybe not like the every down plotter. ETN also big play, lots of like really good with his hands, catches the ball really well. And then I think Breece Hall is probably the best combination of everything you need. And then you can have RJ Harvey still as like, third down, or when you want to create some mismatches, he catches the ball pretty good too. 12 touchdowns. I think there's still he can make some plays for you. But if I'm going to spend some money, and they have some money to spend, because now they've got an extra $30 million back from Russell Wilson being gone, and the cap's going up $20 million, and they've still got some contracts they can restructure, and we also have cash. The Broncos have a lot of cash, and that's how you can always mess with the salary cap, is just handing out cash. We can make some things happen.
So the Broncos have a lot, which is crazy, because they were still able to get to the AFC 1 seed, obviously, and beat Buffalo and then lost in the AFC Championship at home. But
I think we would all agree that if Bo Nix plays that game, if he did not break his ankle and he plays that game, we win. I think we win the AFC Championship game. I have no question about it.
But here's what I'll ask you. Is the Broncos' biggest need all of those things, like the wish list, spending the money, and getting some weapons for Bo Nix? Or is it actually Sean Payton being a head coach and not a play caller any longer, and Davis Webb actually being an offensive coordinator?
A little bit of both. I still think Broncos also had the second most drops of any team in the league. If people that like to crap on Bo Nix, look at his numbers and go, he had wide receivers drop the most footballs, second most footballs of any team. Imagine if half of those are caught, what his numbers would look like. It's pretty crazy. It's a pretty crazy thought. And he still leads all second-year quarterbacks with numbers.
Looking good long term. We'll see how he recovers and how the offseason goes for him and his injury. What do you think about San Francisco?
They got to – I mean, this is the thing for San Francisco, at least for the last, 5-6 years since Jimmy Garoppolo was a quarterback? They got to stay healthy. Every other year. Every other year, they've been really good and then hurt. Really good, then hurt. It's almost it's like a cycle with them.
It's the electrical yard, I swear.
It could be they are doing research on that.
Oh, I
that is
know.
legit.
They're
They are.
digging in.
That is legit. So that is happening.
Either way, I guarantee you it comes back that they're moving.
Now they are still in this weird again, think of how far they got this year with the injuries and the fact that they had so many young guys playing. Like, I think you could make a legit argument that Kyle Shanahan was the coach of the year with what he dealt with.
Yeah.
Most teams that deal with those kind of injuries get the number 1 pick. Like, Mac Jones played like 5 games, and I think it was like 3-2, 4-2, or 4-1. Like,
yeah, he looked good enough that people still think he can be a starter and save a franchise somehow. They're comparing him to Sam Darnold. Right. I'm like, no, they're not. They're not. You guys, lying eyes. They're not the same.
I think Kyle Shanahan learned from his dad. Mike Shanahan could normally get good quarterback play from almost anybody he put under center. Not great quarterback play, but good enough to win you games.
Because they have a system that they're willing to adapt to the strengths of who's playing in that system.
Right.
Like, that's how versatile that Shanahan offense, that West Coast offense, passed down from Walsh to Seifert and Shanahan, and now his son and McVay to an extent. You get really good talent in those offenses, and you see crazy things happen. But
MVP seasons.
Just standard players, they understand what they need to have happen in order for the ball to still do what they want it to do going down the field. And it's fun to watch them call plays because you're right. Like, San Francisco had no business doing what they did this year.
None at all.
So what do they have to do next year? Just be healthy? Like, is it that simple?
I think they still need to work on the O-line because they had some injuries on the O-line and that really kind of hurt them. The defense actually has a lot of young talent on it. I think Saleh got as much as he could get from that defense with the injuries they had, plus the young talent. I think they'll only get better. That's another team that I feel like really needs a true number 1. And their number 1 didn't play all year. Ayuk.
Oh, he won't be back either. They made that pretty clear.
Yeah.
They were like going somewhere else. Is he even a number 1? Like, is he even worth the money they paid him, in all honesty? Like, is he that good?
No, he wasn't worth the money they paid him to begin with, but that's just kind of the going rate. Like, they got into a situation where that was the going rate, and they had just lost the Super Bowl, so like, we got to pay this guy.
And they didn't want to play Debo because he's getting up to an age and injury and stuff like that. I get it. Yes, I would like to see them get, and not even necessarily a true number 1, as everybody says, but somebody who can go out there and command attention and can get possessions. Because right now, that's only from Kittle or McCaffrey. And you need somebody on the outside that can do that.
I mean,
like the Broncos have Sutton. I think the Broncos could force the ball to Sutton a little more. They just don't. But he's capable of a little bit more. And there's other teams, like Mike Evans is kind of that guy now. He's not somebody who's going to necessarily take the top off the defense. He's not going to out-route somebody per se. But you can still throw the ball to him and know he's going to get it, probably. There's guys like that San Francisco didn't even have that this year from the wide receiver position. They didn't even have that guy. So they need somebody. Cooper Kupp almost was that in Seattle when JSN was commanding all the attention, right? They were still able to have somebody that they could go to. San Francisco needs at least somebody there.
They really do. But at the end of the day, like, having a playmaking wide receiver that you can trust in the big moments and get the ball, and sometimes force the ball to if you need to, but then just other opportunities that they're open, they're ready. You know, I don't know where his head's at, but AJ Brown in that offense would actually be pretty awesome because that offense schemes you open,
and that'd be kind of crazy in that offense. So moving to Philly now, that's where I wanted to go next. We've brought up A.J. Brown a handful of times as a potential partnership up with some of these really good quarterbacks that would like to have a number 1. What do you do if you're Philly?
Well, you replace AJ Brown because I think that ship has sailed.
Yep.
Man, they're in a tough spot because their offense since Shane Steichen left, their offense has been pretty bad overall.
No, it hasn't. It was really good with Kellen Moore.
It was okay with Kellen Moore. It still wasn't on that same level. Like Kansas City Eagles Super Bowl, that offense was legit. Eagles offense that won a Super Bowl was based on big runs from Saquon and playing really good defense. Like
Okay,
that's
I'll kind of agree with you there.
and Jalen Hurts can make things happen when needed, but like there's just a disconnect there on offense, and I think it has to do with play calling. And yes, Kellen Moore did a pretty good job, and I think he kind of looked at it which was Kellen Moore likes to throw the ball. That's like been his thing. But he was like, no, if I hand the ball to Saquon and we open holes, Saquon's going to get 3 yards. He's going to get 5 yards. When we least expect it, he's going to get 60. Like he was the big play waiting to happen. That's why I went for 2K because he was always getting that big play. That worked. And then they played good defense behind it. This last year,
but if you
the
move on
offense
from
was
AJ
really
Brown,
disjointed.
who are you replacing with?
And that's the thing. You got to find somebody, which is easier said than done. You still got Devontae Smith.
Can Devontae Smith step up a little bit, and you get a number 2, and Devontae fills the number 1 finally?
I think you can make things happen with Devontae, Dallas Goedert, and another option.
Why is everybody so down on Devontae when you see guys like JSN go out being the number 1? I'm confused by this. He is a Heisman-winning wide receiver who had arguably the greatest wide receiver season in the history of college football, right?
He still gets banged up from time to time. He's slight of frame, but they also one of the things that they don't feed him the ball. We don't know.
I agree with that.
He could be even better than what we know him as.
So if you could do that, I'm asking potentially if you could do that and really move him into the 1 and let him have his shine now, find a 2 for him with Goddard and the other pieces they have, obviously Saquon in the backfield still. Could you really say what they need is moving AJ Brown, getting picks or whatever, beefing up the offensive line and looking for new playmakers? Would that be more the move? And you don't worry about replacing AJ Brown as much as funneling in through a different way?
I think they can still win. Their defense is still good. Beefing up the O-line again. They need to have a replacement plan for Lane Johnson. He's at a point now. He's still great when he plays, but how often did he play last year? He was on and off, right? When that O-line is good, at the end of the day, they don't have to score 30 points a game. Their defense will keep them in games. But it's where their offense literally does nothing, and they're playing a good offensive team that's gonna a lot of good offensive teams will score some points, no matter how good your defense is. You need your offense to pull its weight. So,
2 teams that made the Super Bowl. Pinky, you hold out for a second. Robert, what do you think New England needs to do, and what do you think Seattle needs to do to get back to the top of the mountain next year?
I think a lot of their free agents that Seattle's going to have, they're going to get paid. So I think they need to keep the structure and the core of the team. Without Kubiak, it'll be interesting since he's now the Raiders head coach. So I don't love that, but I'm curious to see what the new OC is going to do. As long as they keep the same scheme, I think they'll be all right. I think less turnovers and things in the regular season will also help. And maybe just developing that defense a little bit more just to be an even more of an elite unit. As far as the Patriots go, I mean, they're a young team, right? Like, there's a lot of development there. And as we were all talking about earlier, what's it going to take for Drake May to get back to the Super Bowl? Because the stats just aren't there to back it up necessarily. So I really don't know what all they're going to need to do. I think they're still developing and growing, and when they have a bit more of a tougher schedule, we'll see a different side of them.
See, I would argue the stats are there. He was runner-up by like a vote in the MVP voting because he put up pretty good stats. Drake May, that is. I think their biggest issue is the same as the Broncos. They need more playmakers that they can count on down in and down out.
I think he meant the stats aren't there as in how many guys have gotten there their first time and never made it back after losing their first time. Not that Drake May's stats aren't good enough for him to be good enough to get back there. Correct me if I'm wrong, Robert.
No, that's exactly what I meant. Just that because you got Josh Allen.
Because we were talking about that earlier, Pinky.
Yeah.
How a lot of guys have made it and lost their first time and not made it back. Only 7 have made it back, and only 3 of those have won.
Because
It's tough.
It could be a Joey B situation, and he's just
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure we're all on the same page there. Because then the stats Pinky's talking about, you could argue what he did in the postseason doesn't back it up, or you could argue what Pinky's about to talk about. And sorry to interrupt you, but please then finish.
Yeah, no, Pinky, but continue on your vote there, because I found that was very interesting.
Mike Vrabel coaches up a defense, and I would say that they had good talent. Milton Williams was worth every dollar they paid him. He came out and shined all year in that defensive tackle position. Him and Barrymore. Christian Gonzalez is great on the back end, right? I have no issues with their defense. They can add a couple pieces here and there. They're still going to be, regardless, they're going to be pretty good coached under Vrabel. The offensive playmakers have to get better. The O-line has to get better, which they could. I mean, they had 2 rookies playing left tackle and left guard. The defenses in the playoffs knew that they could run games on those guys, and they did. And so they need to continue building that up and again, get some playmakers. The Patriots will be fine. I'm still pissed off that they got back to the Super Bowl and they only had to wait like 5 years. Like, that pisses me off. Like, they should be bad for like a decade. I hate that. Same thing with like the Packers. Packers have gone from one Hall of Fame quarterback to another good quarterback. They've not sucked. That's stupid. When a team loses a Hall of Fame quarterback, they should suck. The Patriots should suck, and they don't, and I hate it. I hope nothing but the worst for them.
Or owners should just be better at doing what they need to do to put the pieces in place to have good transitions and, not be an issue.
Right.
The Broncos might have been okay had their owner not left the family in shambles with the way he decided to hand it over. Not necessarily with what happened on the field initially, just what happened behind the scenes. So there's a lot of factors that lead into those situations, unfortunately.
On the Seahawks, they need to pay Kenneth Walker. They need to keep him in the fold. Him and Charbonnet make a pretty good 1-2 punch. They need to continue building the O-line. They probably need another player opposite JSN because Cooper Kupp showed up in moments, but something about the way he ran, I don't know. Him and Sam Darnold did not have a great connection most of the year. So,
kind of hard to get a lot of looks when JSN is getting all the looks. So
there's that.
But yeah, I think another playmaker would be good in Seattle for sure. Look at that O-line and give Darnold another weapon and more protection. Outside of that, Seattle's ready to run it back. They already showed that this year with what they have right now. Obviously, you want to try to get Kenneth Walker signed again. Keep your guys as much as possible. Fill in what you need to in the draft. I actually would argue let Kenneth Walker walk because there's a couple running backs you might be able to get in the 2nd or 3rd round this year's draft that would allow you to then also go pay an offensive lineman. And maybe you could afford to, if you believe Charbonnet can come back fully healthy, supplement what you're trying to do. And that's coming from guys who really like Kenneth Walker. So I'm not trying to say he's not a valuable running back, but depending on how you want to play it out and continue to win long-term versus maybe just repeat, you have to think about some of those situations. So I think there's some options there for Seattle. They're in a really good place. Unlike a lot of other teams, they're in a really good place.
They are in a tough division, though.
I think Barner broke out a little bit this year, and he can continue to get better in year 3. JSN obviously is one of the best wide receivers in the league. They showed that they can do a 1-2 punch as long as you got a couple really good dudes in the backfield. The offensive line can only get better if you put more pieces around it. You'd like to say Darnold year 2 in a system is going to look even better, and that's not going to happen because, like Robert said, Kubiak's gone. But you do feel like he's going to have a better feel for the guys. And so just that alone, that chemistry that they've built is going to be really good for them. And
I would say the biggest concern is Kubiak leaving.
So, but Seattle's in a good place as far as repeat champions and the discussion that goes around that is concerned. Now, yes, they play in probably the toughest division in football right now. The NFC is loaded. We didn't even talk about Green Bay, and they're healthy next year. They could do
Chicago.
Chicago coming back. There's
Detroit,
the Bucks. Maybe. I mean, they had a lot of injuries too, on and off. Like, there's things there that people could be surprised. And I say the Bucks, people might laugh, but after week 5, people were talking about they might be the best team in the NFC last year.
Injuries killed the Bucks.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of interesting things. And does Kansas City come back? What does Baltimore look like? We didn't even discuss them. Detroit was another one. Teams that didn't even make the playoffs that we said should, at the beginning of the season, be competing for the Lombardi. So by no means are we just saying Seattle's going to run it back. They're just in about as good of a position as they could be to do so for what they are trying to accomplish. But that doesn't mean they're going to be the odds favorite next year. Like, what does Baltimore look like with their new coaching staff and potential there? What does Buffalo look like with their new coaching staff? These are 2 quality quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. Kansas City's not going to be done. If they're healthy, they're going to be just fine next year. Trust us. It's what Kansas City does. Next year's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. And I can't wait for the draft, and I'm sure I'm going to end up being upset because I can only think of a handful of times in the last, I don't even know how many years since I've known Pinky and we've been hanging out, that I've been actually happy with what the Broncos did on draft night. So, I'll do my homework and hopefully my fantasy teams will get the benefits. And if the Broncos decide to listen to me for one time, maybe it goes well. We'll see. Hard to say.
We'll see. All right, boys. Let's transition to one of your guys' favorite things in the world, the Olympics.
It's on right here. It's on.
Dude, it's been awesome. I mean, I started watching curling. Didn't know shit about it. Still don't know anything about it, but it's fun to watch.
Love me some curling.
I can tell you, I turned on the Olympics. My wife does like the Olympics. We watched the opening ceremony, and I was immediately like, what is this? Let's turn it off.
Haven't watched that yet. It's still on record. The kids were not having that, so didn't get to watch it this year yet. I will get to it.
You know what? I missed Gojira playing in Paris. That was awesome. This was this was not good. So you didn't miss anything.
I enjoyed the opening ceremonies. I thought they were fun. Although Mariah Carey lip syncing was
the mixed double. I'm trying to find it right now.
They took silver.
They lost to Sweden in curling. Bummer.
Yeah.
I mean, that was cool though. What's the medal count? Let's look. Total medals right now, the U.S. has 7.
I think we have
Norway is winning with 12.
Yeah.
U.S. only has 2 gold. Now, the Winter Olympics is not like the Summer Olympics where U.S. just dominates and just runs away with medal counts and gold medals and all this stuff.
Yeah.
If they get close at the end, that's what's really fun to watch. But the big stuff's still coming up where they like to have the ability to collect some of those. So we'll see what happens this year. I mean, a lot of the big events are still to come. Women's ice hockey is on right now. They're looking pretty solid.
Oh, have you not seen that yet either?
Did they lose tonight?
No.
or this morning or whatever.
They
Oh, they
dominate.
smoked Canada.
Yeah,
Smoked Canada.
smoked
Good.
5-0.
So that's
Boom.
nice. Men's ice hockey will be coming up here shortly. You still got your short track stuff that I want to see. You still got your skeleton. You still got your
Skeleton.
four-man.
Didn't that just start its runs
A lot of the
today?
skiing competition still has to go. Lindsey
Half pipe,
Vaughn,
snowboarding. Oh my
compound
gosh.
fracture in her tibia, completely has nothing to do with her knee, although probably has a lot to do with her knee. She's out, but Breezy collects a gold unexpectedly. Schifrin's still going. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff still happening in the Winter Olympics.
Still got a couple weeks. I love it. I'm excited to have it on again here when I get ready for work. Take it to work, watch it at the desk, and answer phone calls.
Yeah, I've got it on right now, watching everything that's going on. So
You guys are crazy. You know what? I'll be honest. If I didn't consume so many other things, maybe I would watch the Olympics. But
I feel like football's over, so you don't have an excuse.
I have wrestling Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and Friday night. So I got enough. Look, hold on. I have been watching AEW, which comes on Wednesday nights. So it's normally an off night, but we're going to a show, AEW show, at the end of February. So I'm trying to get to know the people, the characters, everything.
Sure.
Should be a good time.
If you're not watching the Olympics, go watch them. There's a lot. I just turn it on and enjoy it. Figure skating. There's the Olympic men.
Dude, they allow backflips now. It's so crazy.
Elian, I can't even pronounce his name. Malkananen?
Sure.
I can't remember.
How about that?
He does things that nobody else in the history of skating has ever even been able to do. He's crazy. He's really good. Go watch it for fun. Whatever
Crazy.
is on NBC or USA or the
Peacock,
app,
whatever.
and you go to
Yeah.
Peacock, turn it on and just watch because it's fun. It's stuff you only see once every 4 years. Root USA. See what's happening. Pick somebody. It's cool.
So good.
All right, enjoy.
And real quick, we'll have one last minute plug. All of the liveries have been released for F1. Why are you shaking your head, Caleb?
Cadillacs it's like cool, but it's not cool.
I feel like it's badass.
Lame.
I feel like it's cool.
It's like cool, but it's like uninspiring. I'm very torn on it right now. I felt there were some opportunities there.
Interesting. Okay. Noted. That being said, do we have any other sports to cover?
I think we'll do a little bit more NBA and NBA. We'll catch up with the NHL once they come back here in a couple of weeks after they get back from the Olympics. Maybe we'll see if we can get Cody on. I'll have to chat him up and see if we can get him on.
Yeah, he was messaging me tonight about Project Hail Mary, so I gotta reach back out to him for sure. So shout out Cody.
As we transition to nonsense, he said that to me too. What is it?
It's a really interesting sci-fi movie that's coming out with Ryan Gosling. It's a very small cast. It seems to be a very faithful adaptation, so we'll see. But no, it looks great.
Of what?
It's from a book called Project Hail Mary. Yeah. I'll send you a link.
What's it about?
Pink.
Teacher gets sent out into space to save the world.
Okay. I can do that. Yeah. Oh, yes. I saw the previews for that.
Yeah.
Where Ryan Gosling's like, no, I'm not the guy. And they're like, yeah, you're kind of the guy.
You're the guy. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay,
Exactly.
I saw that.
So shout out Cody. Shout out Cody.
Cody will listen.
Stellar.
Some ish. Yeah.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, sure. Yeah, that's what we'll go with.
Tell the story well and it won't matter. You tell it bad, you get Armageddon or Deep Impact. I'm just saying.
Deep Impact, another great movie. Haven't watched that in a long time.
Both are great, but one got critically acclaimed and the other one got poo-pooed on left and right.
And
They didn't have Aerosmith.
And I would say they're very much the exact same equality in script and storytelling and acting and gotcha moments and all the stuff.
There you go.
For sure. All right, boys. We had the Fallout finale. Robert, you just finished it, so it's your show, baby.
Oh man, I was so happy. Like it tickled all the right things. I was blown away. I'm so intrigued by where we go with season 3 now. With
Colorado.
not only the going to Colorado with the ghoul, whatever Lucy's gonna do in the wasteland now, with Max. So there's a lot of build up. We still don't quite know what Thaddeus is. So there's just so much happening.
What's up with Vault 31?
We'll have to see. Each vault is different. Like in the games, you exist in different vaults and you go into other vaults, so you don't really know. And I mean the NCR reveal, like picture perfect cutscenes from the game. Even I shed a nerd tear. It was just so beautiful. This storytelling has just been
sitting
great.
there like this, like, oh.
Yeah, pretty much, because it's just like, man, this has been one of the best video game adaptations done. And I really hope that going forward, other game companies start taking these same type of risks instead of, pulling a Witcher and getting rid of your main, lead for someone much weaker.
It's not even getting rid of your main lead. It's completely disregarding the source material.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. So and that whole reveal with Hank and Stephanie being married was also awesome. That also brings into a lot of things, and whatever, phase 2 and all of that's going to be. So many storylines, and season 3 starts production in May. So we're going to be rocking and rolling. We'll be getting the next season here probably in the next 9 to 12 months.
Let's go.
What did you guys think? I know Caleb's been all about it.
I got some reading to do. The age thing has just got my mind going 1,000 miles an hour. And now I need to put that into context of the storyline and where everything's at and what's happened, because she's 200 years old, but Hank's 200 years old then, and that's not Lucy's daughter. I mean, Lucy's mom.
Nope.
But wait, so I got a lot of questions that I have to go do some reading up on and get a little bit of answer. The way it was told, though, is awesome. The way you leave the computer kind of just sitting there with its power source, coming there at the end and realizing he got dumped in the vault, so he may not quite be connected to his system anymore, potentially. There's war coming to that area where that whole area is no longer protected in the same level anymore. And then to end it in the way it was, with the destroyer coming to life and new suits going to be made and generated, and even more chaos for that. Combine that all with the greatest line of the season, potentially, of her dad basically saying, "Hey, I'm Hank. This is your public service announcement. The vaults are at the experiment, the surface is." And then you combine that with, the smartest man actually realized there was somebody who was playing chess with them, but he didn't know there was somebody else on the chessboard with him, which caused him to not make all the right moves he needed to. And somebody else actually has him one-upped right now. And that's still completely in play with all the shit hitting the fan that's already been hitting. And I need the context of the years and the ages now to start allowing my mind to put in the players into better perspective. But to know the ghoul himself, Mr. Howard, basically started it all by trying to be the good dude, I love even more, because now you become anti-hero redemption, like Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, back to like things start playing into a situation where he's still going to do whatever the hell he needs to, but he's going to be thinking about that whole how do I redeem myself once I find them kind of thing now. What does that story look like? How do I play that out? And he's not done with Lucy and Maximus.
Not at all.
So what is that? Going to Colorado, playing that back? I'm just loving
it. The games are incredible, and New Vegas is one of the best.
I just love, and again, just kind of thinking through what Lucy's gone through. I've always enjoyed characters who are kind of like the fish out of water, right? Mm-hmm. And Lucy's character is absolutely the fish out of water of, like, she's the good person in the vault that's now throughout her, the 2 seasons had to kind of do some bad shit because she's not in the vault anymore. And that has been I love it. I almost, they had Todd McFarlane Lucy toy at Walmart that I saw. It was like, I want to say it was like $50 though. And that's probably why I didn't buy it. But I really wanted to. I was like, oh, this is awesome. But I just, I couldn't spend $50 on it.
That's fair.
It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited. I messaged you guys. I was like, man, they could do 10 seasons of this, right? And Robert's like, yeah, there's enough material. I was like, well, the way they're writing it, they should, because this is a lot of fun.
They confirmed what, 5 or 6
that they've dived into.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, they confirmed they're doing like 5 or 6 seasons.
That's awesome because they've done a really good job starting, and we've only barely touched the surface of this world because we started in California. We went out a little past west of Vegas, maybe, and back to Vegas. We haven't really gone north or south. There's the whole other country in the world that we know is in not so great shape either, right? So it's awesome. Loving the way they built this out.
Yeah, and Fallout 4, so you have New Vegas and then 4. That takes place in Boston. So there's already, again, whole cities and things that have been told and revealed that you can do anything with.
And a little bit of a different story, but I think, Caleb, you'd probably enjoy Twisted Metal as well.
Love the game. Haven't watched the show still.
It's pretty good. Not as good as Fallout, but I
just have a hard time getting into it because that game had no story. There was no story with that game. It was drive around and create as much chaos and carnage as possible. That was the game, like literally the game. So, I haven't really had a want to watch it yet. But if I get nothing else on my plate, maybe I will.
Do it.
Robert watched it. He thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's quick. They're shorter than Night of the Seven Kingdoms are by like 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, I got that. There's other. We'll see what happens. We'll see.
This last week of the Night of Seven Kingdoms was so good.
Yeah,
so good. Pinky,
why was it so good, Robert? Tell the people.
I mean, I'm gonna spoil it if you're good.
You don't have to spoil it to say why it was.
Well, I
so
mean,
good.
Pinky hasn't started it, but I mean, I love the compact storytelling. It's all been in one setting, so you don't have to memorize all of these different storylines and characters. It's very straight and narrow, and it's, I think, almost getting back. And it's gonna sound funny, but it's like almost a sitcom with how they're doing it. And I'm thoroughly enjoying that pace because you're getting more in-depth character details, I think, and personality, rather than just bopping around to all these different places. And the setup to where you now have the trial of the 7 is epic. And I'm so ready to see this fight come this coming Sunday because it is one of my favorite stories. So good.
Spilling the beans a little bit there. I will say this. I agree with Robert. I love the way it's being told all in one location, basically. the entire season. You're developing a whole story of this entire event as the very basis for everything that you want to do with this character moving forward. And it is the perfect origin story, if you will, in the way it's being told. You always talk about characters in movies, and especially in superheroes and stuff, wanting that origin story to really be grounded and give you everything you need to know about the character going forward and why they're doing what they're doing. And this is doing that in spades. Just a great job the way it's being done and told. And I think a lot of that is because of the way they decided to basically say, we're going to tell it from point A to point B, and we're not going to not tell anything in that timeline. So they're like, this is basically going to be a week, a 2-week, a 3-week story, and we're going to tell you everything that happens in that 3 weeks of time about this character, and that's going to tell you everything you need to know about why that character is that person in 20, 30, 40 years from now, whenever we jump forward and he's a part of the story again.
All
You're
right,
never
boys.
going to question. You're going to know. So that's really cool. I think the other thing I love is it is doing a marvelous depiction. And I don't think this is spoiling anything. Robert, if I am, then we're both guilty and I apologize. So you tell me. But I think it's doing a wonderful depiction of continuing to give people the story of the fall of House Targaryen from House of Dragons to this, to then where we get to with Game of Thrones.
It's not spoilery, but yes, you are correct. You have that timeline, and you've already seen some of the spoilers in the background from House of the Dragon. It's there. You already see some things that are impacted by this story. So you're still having that internal power struggle of, we still are the dragons, but there are no dragons.
Yeah, so while it's focusing on somebody completely outside of that house as the main character and the story of him, that house is still very much a part of this world and this story, and the way they're doing that, but showing the fact that they're not what they were, even though they're trying to hold on to what that was, I think is being really well depicted, even though, like Robert said, it is kind of being done like a sitcom. There's a lot more humor and lightheartedness and feel good in this than there ever has been in any Game of Thrones version of any kind before this. But I think it's very much needed to also be able to tell you how and why this person is who he is going forward, of what the story needs to be told. And it's also going to help you understand how you get to what you got to in Game of Thrones. And I think it is being really well done. And you do kind of need some of that if you're going to build a true world. If you're not just going to take a glimpse and a piece of that world and tell a story, and you want to build a true world, you have to be able to tell stories like this too, because they exist. No matter how dark the times are or how good the times are, these kinds of people and stories still exist. And you have to be able to tell that within the framework of that universe in a way that is believable and doesn't come off as throwaway or wasn't needed.
Skeleton
and I
crew
think
for
they're
Star
doing it in a way
Wars.
that it right. Like, this is very much needed within this universe now, if I'm being honest.
Yep.
I didn't read the books, but I think the way it's being told and the way it's fitting in is awesome. And I think they're doing a great job. And it's kind of crazy for me to say that, I think, because Mr. Martin himself is on my shit list because he can't even finish his series so that we got a proper ending to the first. And now he's doing all these other projects of things that
Have nothing to do with it necessarily.
Yeah, it's hard. So the only reason I haven't read this is because once I found out the Game of Thrones series wasn't finished and he hasn't finished it, I have decided I'm not reading anything he writes, which sucks because I don't dislike the writing. I'm just not ever going to put myself in a position where I'm reading something that the author hasn't finished. Not doing it again, and I feel like he's bound to do that again. I just feel like it's only a matter of time before he does it again.
Yep.
Does that mean then we end up getting it in film form? Maybe. And so you still kind of get your joy from it. But I told myself I wasn't going to it until he finishes that other one. I'm not reading the other stuff. That's just my foot is put down for that.
Fair.
So Robert can spoil some things for us because of some of the things he's read, but I'll stick with just the way it's being told on the silver screen, if you will, and I'm liking it a lot.
I like it. Cheers to that.
I'll catch up this weekend, boys. I'll catch up.
Amen.
Robert, I
looking
will
forward to it,
say, I will say, and I'll try to say this without spoiling anything. About halfway through, my wife and I looked at each other, and about the same time, we go, "We're not seeing that shit until next week."
Yeah.
And you know exactly what I'm talking about. We realized pretty early on, we're like,
damn.
they're going to give us some more really good story, but we're still a little pissed off right now because we're finally wanting to see, and we're not going to see it. You bitches.
Exactly. No, I'm sitting here like, damn it.
If you know, you know. If you know, you
it's
know.
coming. It's coming. It'll be epic.
And I love the way Egg is still
pulling the strings.
You tell me, Robert. Ask me. Okay. Wife thinks his story right now is just kind of a bit of luck and mischievous, where I think he's very much aware of and has kind of set out on his own mission to find some things, and he's potentially found them and now testing such to find out if he can move forward with his plans. So is it more he's got some plans and he's pulling strings like you just said, or is it more mischievous luck and trying to get out of the shadow of?
You're just going to have to wait and see.
Great answer. I hate you, but great answer. But fun questions to discuss with your people, because obviously even Robert is he wants to say something and knows he's not going to because I've asked him not to, and it's wonderful. But we're on the right track thinking about these things. Yeah, I would say. Yeah.
Yes. That's a fair assessment. Fair assessment. So I don't have any final thoughts at the moment. I'm just ready to start some new shows. I got a bunch coming to be elaborated on next week.
I started Wonder Man today. I've gotten through 2 episodes. I'll report back to you fellas when I'm done.
Okay.
Love it.
I'm excited. Football season's over. I'm gonna need things to take up my time. This is normally when I catch up on shows. I'm excited for it. Let's rock and roll.
Your boys are already starting to deep dive on the draft. I always have some guys, and I get very passionate about them when the Broncos don't pick them.
There you go.
And Pinky hates it, and the bear gets poked a lot, and that's when I usually get turned off for moments in time, and we'll see what happens. But a lot of good sports still coming on. Look, the Indy 500's coming up. Is it Sunday? No, it's the end of the month. I watch it every year, but
coming up soon.
I can't honestly tell you when it is. I apologize, but NBA All-Star Weekend is coming up. If
Nobody cares.
We're not going to talk about it, but I'll end up watching it, even though I say I'm not going to watch it. The point being, there's still some stuff to watch. We're going to find ways to dive into some other things so that we still can discuss things with you. So on that note, thank you to everyone who supports us in any way. Please hit the buttons, like, follow, share, pass us around. It's a lot of fun, we promise. Inner circle, loved ones, family, friends. Do not take those moments for granted. Cherish them. Any moment you get. If that means you don't watch us, we're not going to be mad at you, we promise, because there are moments when we peace out on this because we're going to go do that. We just hope one of us is available to still talk. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, hit us up on socials, Facebook, YouTube, Insta, TikTok, Twitter.
Everywhere.
Find us, Sports Nonsense and Whiskey. Let us know if there's something you want to talk about. Peace.
Pinky in the building, reppin' orange and blue. Broncos country, yeah, you know how we do. High take so wild, you remember the name. From college ball to the pros, Caleb spitting game. Robert here, the pop culture plug. From comics to racing, pour the drink in the mug. Sports, nonsense and whiskey, yeah, bold talk. Good laughs and a glass in the air. Sports, nonsense and whiskey, right? Kick back, tune in, take a wild side stride.